Let's check out today's magic moments covered by State Farm. The very understanding of college eligibility, as we just touched upon, continues to be tested as men's college basketball players with varying degrees of experience on the professional levels seek clearance from the NCAA and now the courts. But it would appear, again, as if we've reached a boiling point with all of this. Charles Bediako, the former Alabama center we just talked about, signed a two-way contract with the San Antonio Spurs, has now sued the NCAA to essentially, who had denied his ability to come back and return to college for what would be his final year of eligibility. You see some of the socials coming in on this. First, it was James Najee, now the Bediako situation. Here's what some notable coaches across the country are saying in response.
Shame on the NCAA. Shame on the coaches, too. But shame on the NCAA, because coaches are going to do what they got to do, I guess. But the NCAA is the one, those people on those committees that are making those decisions to allow something so ridiculous and not think of the kid.
But why would anybody else, if you can get NBA players, G League players, guys that are 28 years old, guys from Europe?
Our lack of leadership is really shown, and now it's probably time to get some help from Congress, but they're more screwed up than the NCAA is.
The NCAA does get to decide who gets to go to the NCAA tournament. Like, they get to decide that. They have that power. And so at some point, when they've been very, very clear about what the rules that they're going to try and enforce, they might lose in court, but they still get to decide what games count towards the NCAA tournament.
So until we fix the eligibility thing, this is what it is.
Look, some great sound from some really powerful voices. Maybe no powerful voice than Myron Medcalf joining us now, ESPN College Basketball Insider. What's the latest on this situation, Myron? And are we going to see Charles Bediako suit up for Alabama in their game against Tennessee tonight?
Yeah, the plan is for Charles Bediako to play after he was cleared by a Tuscaloosa judge on a temporary restraining order. His agent just called me, Daniel Green, and he said, listen, I've heard the backlash, but they feel like the European players who've been cleared by the NCAA have been favored over the American players who also have professional experience and want to play college basketball. That is their argument, that Charles Bediako isn't different than the other guys who've been cleared from overseas, but he is different because this is the first time a guy's played college basketball, gone to the NBA on a two-way contract, and come back to college basketball. If he's granted this preliminary injunction on Tuesday, it could legitimately change the entire sport, both in college and the NBA.
I'm just curious, Myron, as somebody who has covered the sport and seen it evolve over the course of the last couple of years exponentially, on a personal level, like, how do you feel about a move like this?
Well, I just never thought it would happen, right? I mean, I'm old, right? So I've been doing this 20 years almost, Sam. And if someone would have told me 20 years ago that a guy who played in the EuroLeague was going to get a chance to play college basketball, I would have laughed, right? It seemed impossible at the time. And then you go, okay, a G League guy. And you just keep moving forward. A guy who was drafted, and now you have the Charles Bediako situation. I just think once the European guys, though, got cleared,
right.
all of a sudden it made everything pretty gray.
How about on the NBA and the high school side of this? Like, we focus often on the college part of it, but there are some bookends to the fallout from this. High school players now, what's the incentive for coaches to go and find the top high school guys versus like the NBA guys that maybe didn't quite make it or signed a two-way and weren't able to really find their footing there? Talk about those different sides of it as it relates to now their potential at playing in college.
Fewer spots for high school guys. I mean, I was at the Peach Jam tournament this summer, the big AAU event, and coaches told me, listen, we're not recruiting these guys. We're just here to see how good they are, and maybe we'll go get them in the portal 2 years from now. I mean, these guys have already had difficult times getting a chance to play college basketball at a high school. Now you add this dimension, and it's just going to be more challenging for elite players to find spots on some of the top teams in college basketball. So I think that group is probably affected by this more than anything else.
And you don't, I get the sense that you don't think this is like the end, like for Charles Bediako. Like, we're going to see more of this, no?
I'll make a prediction, Sam.
Yeah.
we're going to see an NBA player. We're going to see an NBA player in the next 6 months try to come back to play college basketball. I'll take it a step further. We're going to see an NFL player, if this preliminary injunction is granted, Charles Bediako, try to go back to college football in the next year. I think that's where we're headed. Like, legitimately, the face of sports could change in a matter of 72 hours.
How about that? We could have Pat Mahomes going back and playing at Texas Tech. Look, I mean, that would be amazing. It is certainly a really interesting time, not only in college basketball and college football as well. Myron covers it all on the college basketball side. Myron, really appreciate it, man. In Minnesota, everybody's getting covered with the snow this weekend. Myron, stay safe as we get that storm. Those are your magic moments covered by State Farm.